2,000 from Vietnam. Troops amassing near the border is what the Chinese papers are reporting. AFP says almost 2,000 Chinese citizens were evacuated from riot-hit Vietnam Sea on Monday, with another 2 ships following as Hanoi stifled fresh protest over a territorial dispute and foreign investors counted the cost. You got to hand it to the Vietnamese that they're territorial and don't want to be enslaved by outsiders. Americans used to act like that. The passenger vessels left the central Vietnamese port of Vung Vinh, each with more than 900 evacuees on board, China's official news agency reported. And it goes on. We have the article up at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com by Paul Joseph Watson. Italian MEP, Bilderberg is the root of all evil. European Parliament member blames secretive group for wrecking Italy's economy. As the secretive group gears up, I'm going to break that down in a minute, continuing with the PLA. PLA troops descend on China-Vietnam border. Citizens evacuated over fears of imminent military conflict, close quote. Beijing may be considering a military response to anti-Chinese protests that have erupted in the Vietnam over the last 2 weeks, with reports of an endless stream of PLA troops, tanks, missile launchers, and other heavy artillery heading to Pingzhang City. Am I pronouncing that right? Pingzhang City, where the Sino-Vietnamese War of 1979 began. Yeah, I mean, the Vietnamese are just constantly fighting anybody that gets in their business. The Japanese, the French, you name it, the U.S. The protests were sparked by China's attempt to place a huge state-owned oil rig inside Vietnam's exclusive economic zone on May 2nd. Yeah, China's pushing Japan around, Philippines around, now Vietnam on May 2nd. A move Vietnamese treated as illegal act of provocation. The deployment of the rig was accompanied by 80 ships, including 7 PLA warships, which were confronted by Vietnamese forces. Chinese ships used water cannons and rammed the Vietnamese ships, fueling a dispute that has raged ever since, with violent anti-Chinese riots, or China riots, leading to the death of 21 protesters. After Beijing sent 2 planes, see, they don't have fluoride in their water there, folks. It's normal to act like that when people are taking your stuff. Or you're just your slave. I mean, slaves don't act like that. Slaves bend over. After Beijing sent 2 planes after 5 ships to evacuate Chinese citizens from Vietnam last week, assets of very different nature are heading to the border region as reports emerge of PLA troops in full combat gear on their way to the edge of the city. This is out of control. And it goes on and on. Folks, this is how World War III starts. I'm not saying it's going to start, but other historians, analysts are saying this looks like World War. It's popping up in Eastern Europe, in Ukraine, Poland. It's popping up in the Middle East. It's popping up in North Africa. It's popping up in Western Africa. It's popping up all over Latin America, Central America. It's popping up in Asia. It's popping up. North Korea threatened to attack South Korea. You've got Vietnam fighting with China. You got China threatening Japan. Japan threatening to build nukes. You got China's general a month ago saying we may just invade Philippine Islands and take them. I mean, it is crazy town. Crazy town. I'm going back to your calls here in a moment. I've got more news I'm going to hit, but let's finish up with these calls right now. Truth Raider, South Carolina's a vet, Chad is a vet, Devin's a vet, and Michael's a vet. Let me give each person about a minute and a half so I have time to hit the other news I haven't gotten to yet and some video clips I want to play dealing with this Border Patrol situation. But let's go ahead and go to Truth Raider. Thanks for calling. You're on the air.
Alexander Emmerich, really quick, I have some important information, and it would behoove you to get in touch with Fritz Springmeier. He's got some very interesting latest information on his research that needs to be broadcasted worldwide.
Okay, well, maybe we should get him back on. Go ahead.
Okay.
Guys, call Fritz and find out what it is, and we'll try to get him on air. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll let him explain what it is. It's his information. I'll let him tell you what it is.
No, I wasn't. I was hold on, sir. I was telling the crew, maybe it's time to get Fritz back on. We're going to find out what it is. Go ahead.
Is good. His Skype is good now, so you should be able to get a good communication between the two of you.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's why we hadn't had him on in a while. It's just the interviews were bad phone or bad video, and it's just, but go ahead.
Okay. My assessment on the big picture, what's going on. And I'm a veteran from over 20-something years ago, back in the late 1980s. And I realized that all I was a part of a police force for the international banks, the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. That's all this is just a big...
Exactly, and now they're going to drones and robots in the next 10 years. Now the war on veterans, the old army, they're phasing out humans, literally, this is public, so they got to wage a war and demonize and have the final war against warriors. Because it's a war against humans, period, by the globalists. And, of course, they hate warriors first. Of course, any occupying force wants to wipe out the warriors first. Go ahead.
Right, and that's it. They're going to have to resort to transhumanism, et cetera, whatever they're doing. The robot, I see these robot dogs or something like that, or a robot type of critter.
No, sir, it's official that by 2020, no more combat aircraft that aren't drone, and they're going to ground everything. But go ahead. Right. But this is the deal. The way I got out, and the reason why they're attacking veterans is because they know that all we are is pawns in their scheme. According to Henry Kissinger, all we are is stupid, dumb animals to be used to settle foreign conflicts. No, that's a quote. That's a quote. Great point. I appreciate your call. That's it. It's like a cannon. You know, you drive by the VFW, you drive by the State House, there's old cannons, and they've got lead poured down them or they're spiked. They're done with you. They hate your guts, and here's why they really hate veterans. When they take everybody's pension funds and take everybody's bank accounts in phases, they're going to take it in pieces. This is a globalist program worldwide, psychologically. They take 20, 30% at a whack thinking you'll put up with it, and in a decade you're totally bankrupt. They know that veterans, when their pensions are taken, are going to get mad. So they're coming for you. Chad in Tennessee, thanks for holding her on the air.
Hey, Alex.
Go ahead.
Got a couple different issues to bring up. One, I listened to the recording of the SWAT officer, or whoever it was, speaking. They do this fear-mongering. Actually, out of all the veterans, it's only a small percentage that would even know how to make an IED to begin with.
But there's no IEDs going off except for the Boston thing, which was as phony as a $3 bill. That's the thing. And the cops were like, they're going to be veterans killing everybody, and we got to patrol the cornfields. They're everywhere. Is there one under here? Is there one over there? No, the globalists are going to blow stuff up and blame it on vets. Go ahead.
The second point that I'd like to bring up is that I believe right now this is a testing phase. I believe, you have to propagandize the indigenous population that you are getting ready to try and make social change with. So I believe that right now they're putting out all this to see how are we going to respond.
Exactly. We got to freak out, make a big deal out of it, and push back, and they'll back off. Exactly.
So I believe that the best thing that people can be doing is going to their local police facilities, questioning all these operating procedures that they're starting to come up with if your town is getting these MRAPs and heavy equipment and everything else.
And I agree, and don't be apologetic. I mean, I would be serious and say, listen, this country's being taken over by tyranny. Foreign banks are raping us. Here's the news articles. They're training for war on the vets. The vets aren't doing anything. They're trying to stage a takeover. They know the vets aren't going to be part of it. Serve your community and your family name and God. Don't be a little coward that becomes a federal pimp. I mean, police in the past would never be part of this. And we've got to, I agree with you. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm ranting.
No, that's fine. And I really would like to say that people are going to have to get out there and talk to these people and ask them. You don't have to be combative with them, but ask them, like, we have never had these types of threats going on all over the place like other countries like Israel and Palestine. Why is it now that we are starting to push and say that our own people are going to start doing all this? Why is that? Why would if anyone was going to do any of these things, what would be their motivation?
Look, exactly. Force a debate. It'd be like if somebody came to a church and said, I'm worried an arson's going to burn this place down. You watch. You need to buy insurance. And then next week it burns down. Who's the first person the cops are going to talk to?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes.
Well, of course, it's going to be the people they want to demonize.
Well, but I mean, listen, if I come to your house and you're a new neighbor that moves in and I said, there's been a lot of fires, Chad, with new people that move in, hope nothing burns down because we don't like neighbors. If your house catches on fire, who's the main suspect going to be?
It's going to be the neighbors.
Okay, the globalists are saying the vets are getting ready to start a civil war and bomb the police as an excuse to train the police for war against the veterans. How obvious is it who's going to stage stuff? Because nothing's happening. They have a nationwide preparation for this. Who does that tell you is going to stage it? I mean, they say it's coming for sure. How do they know that?
Because they've already planned it. They already have.
Absolutely red-handed, total, and they've done it before. So, I mean, if they're going to fund al-Qaeda to kill 300,000 people, mainly Christians, in Syria, do you think they'll stage something here? I have an article today saying, why does Christian persecution get worse in every country the U.S. liberates? The UN admits Christians are under the greatest persecution ever. The globalists hate Christians. They hate anybody that doesn't worship them. John Kerry's running around saying, keep faith in his Yale speech in government. It's their God. Their God. They want us to worship Bill Clinton. No, you understand? So of course you're the enemy. Anything else? I'm sorry, I'm ranting.
No, that's it. They want you to worship the state. The state is God. The state, there is nothing above the state, and that's why they hate Christians.
That's right. God bless you. I appreciate your call.